Hello everyone, Jim Spears here, Centerra Co-op Liquid Fuels Division. Hey, in today's video, I'd like to briefly talk about fuel tank maintenance, just general maintenance of your fuel tank in the first segment. The second segment, I'd like to talk about the process that we should follow bringing back old storage tanks for fuel that's maybe been out of service for a few years. So let's talk about the first. Let's talk about the general maintenance of your fuel tank. As most of you know, all fuel has a level of moisture in it. So, and typically the additives that we put in fuel keeps that moisture elevated into the fuel, and it just gets used up, and there's never any issue. Very seldom an issue. But from time to time, we happen upon a tank, and all of a sudden there's an inch of water or 2 inches of water in the bottom of the tank for some reason. So what we recommend is from time to time for you to probe your tank and check for moisture content. If it has water, if you detect water, then we have a 3-step process that we recommend that you take to get that tank back in healthy condition. And the first is to pump that water off, pump all the water out of it. That's the first. The second is to chemically remove the residual water, the moisture that's left behind. Although we pump it out, there's still some there. And if we leave that gives bacteria something to feed on. So we take a chemical called tank dry, and it elevates all the moisture that's left in there, and it gets mixed into the fuel and just gets bleeded out and taken care of. Now we want to take care of the bacteria that's left behind. So we encourage treating the tank then with a BioGuard. And what it does is it kills out bacteria and biocontaminations of different sorts. So I know that's a quick overview of general tank maintenance, but that's 50% or more of the breakdowns on diesel engines out there is attributed to moisture and bacteria in the fuel, clogging filters and such as that. So I'm going to provide my contact information at the end of the video. So if you'd like to know more, or if you'd like me to forward you more information regarding general tank maintenance, you can reach out to me and request it. The second topic I'd like to touch on is I've had a number of customers call me and talk about bringing back old tanks that they had serviced out a number of years ago. They've been sitting in storage or out back and not been in service. I've also had some ask about, buying all the used tanks, because there's a lot of used tanks on the market out there. I've seen dozens of them for people wanting to sell them, and some of them I'm sure are probably fine and maybe a good deal. Some of them may not be. So I encourage you, before you actually purchase that tank, is to go and do an inspection of the outside and the inside. You can inspect the outside by just looking at it for heavy pitted areas where rust and corrosion is starting to take over the tank. And the inside, you can take a probe with you and just scrape it along the bottom and lift that up, and you can tell some of what's going on in the inside of the tank. If you bring the tank online, or if you purchase a used tank, I'm going to encourage you to take and flush that tank. That means you can take 15, 20 gallons of diesel fuel, pour it in that tank. If you have a piece of equipment to shake it and agitate that around, and then pump that off or pour that out, try and catch the last few gallons of that flush in a separate container and inspect it. If it still shows a lot of sediment and discoloration, I'm going to encourage you to do another 15 or 20 gallons in it and flush it a second time. Again, same process. If you can collect the last few gallons of that in a separate container, inspect it. You want to do that until that's showing decent coloration and low residue particles in that fuel. After you do that, then you can treat it with the BioGuard to kill out any bacteria that's been growing inside that tank, and you should be ready to go at that point, and it be not problematic for you down the road. I know I've covered both of these topics hurriedly, so again, I can be reached. My cell number is 419-651-9070, or you can email me at jspears, SPEARS, at centerracoop.com. Now, if you're watching or phoning from the east side of I-77-21 corridor, you're going to need to phone 800-362-9598. tell them what your business address is, and they'd be glad to get you connected with your sales rep in that area. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time.